Okay, he's really grasped this segment, Richard Kaplan. We call it Behind the Mind's Eye. It's focused on mental illness. And Richard, what do you have on tap for today?
Peer mentoring as well as socialization in terms of autism. Autism in people on the spectrum, whether high functioning or low functioning, it is defined as a social illness. Socialization is very difficult for people on the spectrum. Many of them feel isolated. Asperger's syndrome, for example, is a high functioning form of autism. I was diagnosed with this, and in some ways I agree with the diagnosis, in other ways I don't, and I'm going to get into that. One of the criterion back in the day when I was diagnosed is if you were highly intellectual and you presented certain signs such as OCD, you have Asperger's. But that's not always the case. A lot of times biochemical disorders are misdiagnosed as autism. In my case, I'm starting to believe that may be the case. Peer mentoring plays a big role in autism. As I had mentioned last week when I had AJ on talking about his brother Tyler, it's through mentoring that we are able to explore our deepest elements regarding communication, social skills, basic living skills, financial skills. A lot. It encompasses a lot, and not every person on the spectrum is the same. Autism in some ways is like a fingerprint. Everyone is different in their own unique way. It affects everyone differently. Some people could have Asperger's and cyclothymia, which is a form of bipolar. Others can have Asperger's and ADHD. And in some cases, some people can have Asperger's and a biochemical disorder, such as dopamine imbalance in the brain. Dopamine, for example, is a chemical that stimulates the neurons mainly in certain areas, such as cognitivity, ability to listen, ability to focus, ability to eat normal, and so forth. It is a very encompassing field that we're entering into with regards to autism, hence why the logo for autism is a puzzle. Because in a lot of ways, mental illness is a puzzle, and we're always looking for the proper piece to make it work. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. I'm very blessed in the sense that I have a couple of friends who have stood by me through thick and thin, and I'm not the easiest person to stand by, I'm not gonna lie to you. But through this, I'm starting to open up to different areas. I'm starting to see things that I didn't see before. It's peer mentoring that really allows us to understand both neurological and physiological elements regarding mental illness. As Harvey Wiesenberg touched on, society looks at mental illness differently now because a lot of the crimes that are being committed lately are people who are mentally ill. So we assume that mentally ill people are criminals when they're not. Not every mentally ill person is going to go out and kill someone. Not every mentally ill person is going to go out and commit a crime. It's about how you perceive yourself and how you perceive what you are learning in your environment. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort for a person to change. Not everyone is the same. Some people change easily, others adapt at their own pace. Some are even stubborn in the sense that people have to tell them over and over what they're doing wrong. But at the end of the day, we are all human beings on this earth. We have 10 fingers, 10 toes, and a sponge we call a brain. It's how we use our brains that is going to determine our futures. A lot of people live in the past on the spectrum. A lot of people tend to kind of have their own little biome, their own little sphere of world where they live in. For me, it's airplanes. I'm obsessed with airplanes to the point that if you ever came over my house, all you will see is airplanes. It's insane. I'm also believing that I am somewhat on the spectrum in the sense that I used to have a friend, back when I displayed my planes, they were precisely angled. If he made one upside down, I would totally lose it and freak out. If one was out of place, I'd know instantly. It's cognitive awareness through socialization that ultimately is going to bring out the personality in someone on the spectrum. The more you communicate, the more effort you put into the communication factor, the more they will ultimately blossom and begin to come out of their shell. In Tyler's case, AJ has found a common bond with aviation. As he mentioned last week, Tyler tried to turn on the engines on a military plane. He is very obsessed with aviation because this is his world, this is his biome. Others draw certain figures. I remember back when I was in GRASP, I went to a clinic and I saw several drawings, and I do the same exact drawing, and I thought to myself, is this Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Are we obsessed with Devil's Tower all of a sudden, or is this something new? And lo and behold, it's a form of expression through patterning. That's how people are able to interpret code. They're able to interpret numbers. Tyler's able to memorize his mother's credit card. In my case, I'm able to express myself to my friends by making these drawings. I won't lie though, I haven't done it in a while. I will be doing it again, and I will bring one on the show to show you, ultimately. But there are many ways that we express ourselves, but it's not always easy to the outside world. Some people look down on us, others use the R word, which I will not repeat because I find it to be one of the dirtiest words in vocabulary. But I can tell you we are not the R word, we're just unique. And every one of us has a unique feature that we gravitate to. Ultimately, we do learn. Ultimately, we do progress. Through peer mentoring, this progression will happen in time. Not everyone blossoms overnight, but they do blossom. This has been Beyond the Mind's Eye for this week. I thank you for watching, and also want to send a shout out to those with breast cancer. As you know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you know somebody who has breast cancer or any form of cancer, please take the time to let them know that they mean something to you, because they are fighting for their lives. And that is a major fight. It is a fight that takes every ounce of strength. And I can assure you, if you take the time to acknowledge what they're fighting for and let them know that you're there with them, they'll appreciate it. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week, and Happy New Year to my Jewish friends, Shoshana Tova. Thank you and have a great week.
Great job, Richard Kaplan. Excellent job. Behind the Mind's Eye. Focus on mental illness. Great job. Peer mentoring, Richard Kaplan.